Hey everyone. After an unforgettable weekend in Pondicherry, it was time to hit the road. It began as a routine drive back to Bengaluru. Our journey began at the iconic rock beach in Pondicherry. With the sound of waves still echoing in our minds, we weaved through the familiar chaos of city traffic. But as we crossed into the outskirts, the city slowly faded behind us, and the open stretch of NS 32 towards Tindiwanam beckoned us forward. Driving down this highway was an experience in itself, smooth, scenic, and the kind where the miles just melt away. We were craving a break, and no, not the usual tea break under the scorching 36-degree sun. No, sir. This weekend had set a different mood. It called for something fresher, something more natural, a juice break. Soon enough, we reached Tindiwanam, just about 35 kilometers from Pondicherry. As we climbed the elevated road, the map nudged us towards a quick bypass. We ignored the algorithm and followed the signboard towards Senji, a place on our route towards Tiruvannamalai. It took us through a slightly congested stretch and set us back by 4 minutes. Yes, just 4. But trust me, that small detour, it's going to matter later. From there, we merged onto NH 77, our wheels now rolling steadily towards Tiruvannamalai. The smooth 4-lane ride ends at Tindiwanam. From there on, NH 77 takes over, a 2-lane highway winding all the way to Krishnagiri. It's a good road, no doubt, but the pace changes, and the traffic, a classical 2-lane mix. Slow trucks, ambitious bus drivers, and the occasional overtake that demands a little calculation and a lot of patience. Somewhere along the way, we pulled over for a quick fuel stop. I left my camera and headed off to use the restroom, trusting my friends to handle the refueling. Big mistake. You see, childhood friends can be trusted with almost anything, but never with your recording equipment.
ನೋಡಿ ಖಾಲಿ ಆಯಿತು ಹಾಗೆ ನಾವು ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಂಗೆ ಸಖತ್ ಫೀಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗೋದು ಹಾಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು ನಾವು 4 ವೀಲ್ ಲೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೋವ್ರೆ ಗಾಡಿ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಗಾಡಿ ಡೀಸೆಲು ಆದರೆ ನಾವು ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಹಾಕೋದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ
ಇದು ನಯರ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಹೆಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ?
ಹೌದ್ರಿ ಹೌದು
ನನಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ನಾನು.
ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ರೀ, ನಾವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಹಾಕೋದು ₹5 per ಲೀಟ್ರ್ ಹಾಕೋರೆ. ಏನೋ ಹಾಕೋರು ಅವರು ₹5 1 ಲೀಟ್ರ್ ಕೊಡೋರು ಇವರು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೋರ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ₹5 1 ಲೀಟ್ರು ಡೀಸೆಲು. ಅದೇ ನಾವು ₹5 ಡೀಸೆಲ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಹೆಂಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಮೈಲೇಜ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕೋದು ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದು. ಹಂಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೈತೆ. ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ರೆ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ನವಾರ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಬಂಕ್ಗೆ ಬಂದೀವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟಾಯ್ಲೆಟ್ ಐತೆ, ಸ್ಕಾರ್ಪಿಯೋ ಗಾಡಿ. ಏನೋ 55 ಲೀಟ್ರ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ₹5,000 ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಗುಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹಚ್ಚ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಫುಲ್ಲು ಸಖತ್ತಿದೆ. ಗಾಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡರ್ಟಿ ಇದೆ, ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಡ್ರೈವರ್ ಸೀಟ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತೇವೆ. ಸಖತ್ತಿದೆ ಲೊಕೇಶನು. ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ನೋಡಿ ರೋಡೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ ಬರುವ. ನಾವು ಟಾಯ್ಲೆಟ್ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟಿ ಇತ್ತು, ಹೇಗೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡುವ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏಡ್ ಸಹ ಇದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದೆ. ಏರ್ ಇದೆ, ಏರ್ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ. ಇದು ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಲಿಂಕಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ತೇನೆ, ಪಿನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, ಆಯಿತಾ? ನವಾರ ಬಂದು ಲೈಕು, ಶೇರು ಮತ್ತು ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್.
After that mildly embarrassing moment at the fuel station, which I won't deny had everyone laughing, including the fuel pump operator, we were back on the road, slightly red faced, but in good spirits. Thankfully, NH77 is well planned through this stretch. It bypasses the busy town centers, letting us glide past the chaos and keep the drive smooth and steady. Just the open road, rolling hills in the distance, and a little less trust in my friends around my camera gear. We rolled into Tiruvannamalai, and like every classic road trip, we spent a few kilometers circling around hunting for that perfect spot to eat. Ironically, we ended up having lunch at the very place we had first considered. Classic.
But we're going there. We're going there. That's it only. I think we go inside this.
With our hunger sorted, we continued the drive along NS77 towards Chengam. And just a note for fellow travelers, if you're ever on this route, you're in luck. Tiruvannamalai, in particular, offers no shortage of options to satisfy your hunger. The drive remained scenic, and in the monsoon, this stretch truly comes alive. Lush landscapes, dramatic skies. It's the kind of road that makes you fall in love with the journey all over again. By the time we reached Singarapettai, dark clouds loomed ahead, almost like they were waiting for us. A gentle drizzle began to fall, setting the perfect mood. But near Utangarai, the skies opened up and the rain came pouring down. And I have to admit, there's something undeniably therapeutic about driving through the monsoon. The rhythm of the wipers, the soft roar of the rain on the windshield, it slows you down in the best way. With the rain slowing us down, the sudden urge for a hot cup of tea creeped in. A tea stop wasn't just a good idea, it was the need of the hour. As we stood there sipping hot tea under the soft drizzle, everything felt just right. The rain, the road, the pace. It was the kind of stop that makes road trips unforgettable. And then it happened. One of my friends casually pulled out their phone to check the flight time. You see, we were on a relaxed weekend getaway, and the understanding was clear. Their flight was at 10:15 p.m. No checked baggage, just a backpack. So, worst case, reach Bengaluru by 7:30 p.m. And even with the traffic, an hour, hour and a half, or even two to the airport, plenty of time. Or so we thought. But that 10:15, that wasn't the departure time. That was the arrival time. Their actual flight departed at 9:10 p.m. and the boarding gates closes at 8:45 sharp. And suddenly, the calm monsoon drive wasn't so calm anymore. This weekend indeed was crazy. Crazy enough to make us forget some pretty key details. The goal was simple. Reach the airport by 8:30 p.m. That gave us just enough time, at least on paper. We laid down the rules. Rule 1. Speed up, but only where the road allows it. Rule 2. No rash driving, especially on the narrower 4 and 2-lane stretches. And the rule 3. Stick together, stay sharp, and don't lose time overthinking. With our mission locked in, we powered through the remaining stretch to Krishnagiri, where the real game changer waited. NH44. 6 glorious lanes of smooth tarmac. Wide, fast, and built for exactly the kind of drive we needed. We merged onto it like a rocket snapping into orbit. This wasn't just a road anymore. It was our runway to redemption. But just like some rockets fail at ignition and never even make it past the troposphere, our launch hit turbulence. Fast. The dashboard lit up. A warning. Rear right tire. Losing pressure. Fast. A puncture. At the start of our high speed dash to the airport. Suddenly, everything felt lost. But remember rule number 3: stick together, stay sharp, and don't lose time overthinking. And in that moment, we lived. In less than a minute, we snapped into action like an F1 pit crew, each of us moving with purpose. No panic, no shouting, just unspoken coordination and pure hustle. 17 minutes. That's all it took. Tires changed, tools packed, spirits back up. We were road ready once again, and the chase was back on. As smooth and professional as that tire change was, we couldn't ignore the reality. 17 minutes were gone, and at that exact window, Bengaluru traffic on NH44 hits its peak. Right on cue, Google Maps lit up with a suggestion: an alternate route through Malur, Hoskote, and then the satellite town ring road to Devanhalli. Unfamiliar, unpredictable, but possibly faster. With the clock ticking and no room left for doubt, we made the call. We left NH44, waving a silent thank you to the highway that had carried us swiftly to Shulagiri. It had done its part. And in that moment, for all my love of highways, NH44 felt like an old friend. The kind that steps in when you need them most, then quietly steps aside when it's time for the next chapter. Now it was time to venture into the unknown. The ETA as we turned onto this unfamiliar route was 8:39 p.m. Cutting it close, painfully close, and honestly, doubts were running high. The roads were narrow, local traffic weaved unpredictably between us. We passed through small villages, some congested, others quiet but tricky. And the tarmac, a patchwork of broken stretches and hurried repairs. Every bump felt like a warning, a reminder that this shortcut came with a cost. And while rule number 3 kept us calm and focused, it was time to lean on to rule number 2: drive fast when no one's around, never drive rash when others are. We pushed where we could: open stretches, empty curves, and the moment traffic appeared, we backed off. No risks. We kept reminding ourselves a flight can always be rebooked, but a mistake, especially on roads like these, that stays with you forever. That thought kept us grounded, focused. It made us respect the road, even as we fought against the clock. And somehow, through calculated bursts of speed and cautious navigation, we shaved 9 precious minutes of the ETA. From 8:39, we're now looking at 8:30 p.m. in just 20 kilometers. Victory felt close, almost too close. And then we met them. Not a traffic jam, not a broken down truck. A herd. At least 100 sheep and 2 donkeys, leisurely making their way home after a day of grazing. They weren't just on the road, they owned it, side to side, end to end. A slow moving, fuzzy wall between us and the finish line. We reached Malur with our ETA ticking at 8:33 p.m. There was a bit of traffic crawling through the town, local life in full swing. Oblivious to the ticking clock in our heads, every second felt heavy. But once we crossed Malur, the road opened up again. A 4 lane stretch awaited us. But it wasn't the kind you'd speed throughout without a thought. This was a road of extremes: potholes, uneven patches, sudden jolts that could throw you off the rhythm in an instant. Speeding here wasn't about how fast you could go, it was about how smartly you could adapt. We slowed for the potholes, navigated with precision, but when the roads got rough, the Scorpio-N did what it does best. It flattened out the chaos beneath us. It didn't flinch, it didn't complain, it just kept going. We reached Hoskote with our ETA now reading 8:24 pm. Just 3 kilometers stood between us and the satellite down ring road, our final corridor to the airport. That last push, it came courtesy of NH75. Wide, smooth, reliable. It felt less like a road and more like a launch pad, one that catapulted us forward just when we needed it most. The anxiety, the potholes, the sheep, it all faded into the rear view. Now it was straight shot to Tiruvannamalai.
Make a U-turn.
The final stretch, the make or break moment. Satellite down ring road. We held tight to rule number 3. Stick together, stay sharp, no overthinking. We never let go of rule number 2. Drive fast when the road is clear, never rash with the traffic around. But now it was time. Time to bring in rule number 1. Push hard when the road gives you permission. And the STRR, it gave us full permission. Wide, open, and flowing. It was built for a moment like this. Moments when everything is on the line and the road becomes your ally. We flew through it, smooth, steady, fast. By the time we exited at Tiruvannamalai, our ETA had dropped to 8:21 pm. Just 20 kilometers stood between us and the finish line. And speaking of allies, the one we had pinned our hopes right from the beginning, the highway that carried us through the early part of the journey, returned, right when we needed it the most. NH44. It welcomed us back like an old friend, no questions asked. Even with the scattered traffic stops and slowdown, it gave us its very best. 15 solid kilometers of smooth, steady progress. And in that final stretch, it did what only a true ally could do. It bought us time. Enough time not to rush into the airport under the glare of the 90-second drop-off countdown, but to pause, to say goodbye the way it should be done. Not in a hurry, not in passing, but over one last cup of coffee. A quiet moment with the same friends who stood by me through every twist, turn, delay, and detour. Through laughter, mistakes, punctures, panic, and everything in between. We reached the airport exactly at 8:30 pm. They walked through the security check just in time and had a safe flight home. And the drive, a total of 381 kilometers in 7.5 hours, with the average fuel consumption of 13.1 kilometers per liter. To my brothers, thank you for the fun-filled weekend. And to my trusty companion, that solid ladder frame, thanks for holding strong, powering through every bump, twist, and breakdown. You made it happen. If you have ever been on a road trip mess like this, hit that like button and share your story in the comments. That's it from my side, and I'll see you on the next one.